Collaborations with local restaurants are a common way many student organizations choose to raise funds. They are simple events to organize and provide high numbers of attendance. However, they often yield low percentages of return. What other ideas do you have to raise funds for the organization, and how will they provide value to the general body?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes. So, collaborations with local restaurants are a common way many student organizations choose to raise funds. They are simple events to organize and provide high numbers of attendance. However, they often yield low percentages of return. What other ideas do you have to raise funds for the organization, and how will they provide value to the general body?
Thank you for that question. In my speech, I referenced new interactive fundraisers to support like events such as FG and FACN. One of these ideas that I had was doing a pie auction thing. I know it was in Constitution, it was the first thing mentioned when it comes to overseeing fundraiser events. I want to be able to incorporate that in a new way. I want to be able to incorporate that through the participation with like members that participate in FG and FACN. As someone that's participated in both, I acknowledge the fact that there are friendships that grow and start from participating in those events. And that having, for example, the roll call leads for FG, have them participate in the pie auction, or the FG coaches, or the coaches for those respective games. Establishing that kind of friendships with them from those games will allow participation within the pie auction to hopefully raise funds for those events, and also allow a chance to have that space to allow participants to just be able to hang out and also have fun, but to also be able to help support the event. And it would also be able to not have to worry about other resources, such as, of course, I know there has been problems, or there has been situations with accommodating like car situation or gas payment or gas situation, and having that auction on campus allows us to be able to raise money without putting so much resources into certain fundraisers.
The second question is, aside from hosting fundraisers and events, it is within the responsibilities of the funding coordinator to acquire sponsorships on behalf of the organization. How do you plan on fulfilling this responsibility, and are there any specific sponsors you currently have in mind?
Can you repeat the question one more time, please?
Of course. Aside from hosting fundraisers and events, it is within the responsibilities of the funding coordinator to acquire sponsorships on behalf of the organization. How do you plan on fulfilling this responsibility, and are there any specific sponsors you currently have in mind?
I want to be able to make sure that when we are trying to gain sponsorships, I want it to be with companies, with local businesses that also support our values as an organization. This organization started off as a political and cultural organization. I want to make sure that the companies and local businesses are well aware of who we are as an organization and what we stand for. Because I feel like while we can't just like reach out to like any company, I want to make sure that when we highlight and showcase those values, that in the long run, having those interpersonal relations will be able to support the organization in the long run.
Hello. As we know, many of the funding events tend to be heavily marketed towards Samahan members. What intentions do you have to advertise outside of the Samahan space in order to expand our audience?
Can you repeat the question last time, please?
Of course. As we know, many of the funding events tend to be heavily marketed towards Samahan members. What intentions do you have to advertise outside of the Samahan space in order to expand our audience?
What I want to do, as I mentioned in the speech, was to have a collaborative effort, hopefully, with the next community affairs coordinator when it comes to an FCC event. Sorry, can you hear me?
No, of course. So as we know, many of the funding events tend to be heavily intentions do you have to advertise outside of a Samahan space in order to expand our audience?
Okay, so in my speech I mentioned hopefully, like I previously mentioned, hopefully fundraiser to support those affected in the Philippines by the current political state right now. And so outside of Salon Spaces, I want it to be a chance to also work with community to ensure and strengthen the bonds between the two organizations, as well as hopefully be able to help raise funds for those events and to allow like the closeness together within